Hello again and welcome back. This may be your afternoon practice, your morning practice, could be your evening practice. But this one will be a little bit slow and stretchier, and we might come off the ground. We might not. We'll see how it goes. But let's begin. So, first let's start lying down, I think. We've begun seated in other videos, so let's start lying down. So we're beginning semi-supine pose. And you know, for those of you who have worked with me for a while, that we first make sure that the spine has lovely length. So leave the leave the hip bones resting where they are. Draw the middle spine up, slide it away from the hips. The shoulder blades, the back of the head, make sure that they settle a little further away from the hips. So you've got a little bit more contact with the ground through the back. Shoulder blades melting down. Bones of the arms are heavy. Backs of the hands and the knuckles become heavy. Relax your jaw. Relax your hips. Let the bones of the legs become heavy. The bones of the tops of the feet and into the toes. Take a deep breath. Relax your eyelids. Use this pause to scan the body and notice where you may have tightness, where you may hold tension. And just become aware of that so that as we go through these different sequences, you might linger a little bit longer. If there's a particular place, maybe your left hip or right shoulder, maybe you need to spend a few more breaths holding that pose, stretching it. So keep that in mind as we go through. Let's begin by stretching all across the body. So extend the left leg down towards the mat and the right leg. Let your arms come to the ground either behind the head, ooh, if I can, or if that's too strong of a shoulder joint opening, maybe out into a Y shape. Put the hands just above the head. Whichever pose you choose for your arms, relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. Relax the palms of your hands and relax the soles of your feet. Let all of your attention drift down towards your right heel. And on an inhale now, push through that right heel only, just the right heel. And as you push through that right heel, you might notice that quadricep become tense. You might notice that right hip stretch a bit. Exhale, relax that right heel. Inhale, push through that left heel now. Inhale and push. And exhale, relax that left heel. Inhale, reach through the right fingertips now. Reach that right arm long across the ground. Stretch that right shoulder. And as you exhale, soften that right arm. Inhale, stretch through the left arm now. Stretch. And exhale, relax that left arm across the body now. Left heel, right fingertips. Inhale and push, stretching. Feel those joints opening just a little bit more. And exhale to relax. Now right heel, left fingertips, stretch. And exhale to relax. Now just both of your heels, left and right. Inhale and push through those heels. Push, push, push. Your arms are relaxed. And exhale, relax the body. Just the arms now. Inhale, reach through all of the fingertips. Spread the fingers nice and wide and reach. Relax your jaw. And exhale, relax the arms. Now all four limbs. Inhale and stretch. And exhale, relax. Bring your feet back into semi-supine pose, knees bent, feet flat to the ground. And as you do so, you might clock that space between your lower back and the ground. And if you do, again, settle that spine down. Hips drift downward. Lower spine, shoulder blades, back of the head. Drift down to the ground. You notice my arms are still extended out. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. Leave your arms resting there. Place the soles of the feet on the long edges of the mat. Relax the palms of your hands. Now let your knees drift over towards the right. And as you do so, externally rotating the right hip, internally rotating the left. You know the drill. Soften your thighs. Soften your hips. Soften buttocks and back. Relax your left shoulder. Maybe turn your chin towards that left shoulder. Relax your eyebrows. Let's stay here for 4 slow breaths. Allow the joints of the hips time to open up, that subtle rotation in the spine. And though the arms are resting sedentary, those shoulder joints are becoming open. At the end of your 4th exhale, inhale the knees and nose back up. And as you exhale, let the knees drift to the left. First, the knees float over, they land. You set about your refinement. Soft thighs, soft hips, soft buttocks and back. Soft right shoulder. And then turn your chin perhaps to the right shoulder. Now 4 slow breaths. Relax your face. And at the end of your 4th exhale, you'll inhale the knees and nose back upright once more. If you need to, with that subtle movement, it may be that the spine has come away from the ground. So make sure to lengthen the spine once more. Nice and grounded down. Bring the left knee towards the chest. Leave your right foot resting where it is. Left knee towards the chest. And in this moment, you may listen to your lower back and decide, yeah, your left knee can simply hover there. That's fine. Or you might want to squeeze it a little bit tighter. Now for me today, drawing the knee towards the chest doesn't feel quite right. So I'm going to let my knee hover. Since that ankle is free, I might rotate that left ankle around and rotate it in the opposite direction. Pause the rotation, place that left foot back down to the ground on that long edge. Bring the right knee towards the chest. Relax the lower back. Decide if you want to squeeze the right knee close or let it simply hang there. Rotate that right ankle around. And rotate in the opposite direction. Pause that rotation. Now draw both knees towards the chest, but keep the knees fairly wide apart. You can rest your fingertips lightly on the knees, but you certainly don't have to. Relax your hips. Relax your buttocks. Relax your eyelids. Now, let the soles of your feet begin to drift skyward. Now if your hands are not already resting on your knees, we are going to bring the arms to the insides of either the knees or perhaps the calves, shin bones. Heels are facing up towards the sky, and with the hands resting on the legs, if you find your shoulders rise up, you might need to grab a strap, or if you're at home and you don't happen to have a yoga strap, you can always take a towel or the tie from a bathrobe and bring it around the soles of your feet so you can actually access the feet. Because remember, the length of our arms, which we can't control, might have an impact on our happy baby pose or our not so happy baby pose. But make sure the shoulders are relaxed down to the ground, wherever your hands are along the insides of your legs. Relax your hips, relax your buttocks. You might be able to bring your hands to your ankles. You could potentially bring your hands to the outside edges of your feet, drawing the knees closer down towards the ground. Or you could take your index and middle finger, wrap it around your large toes, and bring the knees closer down towards the shoulders. So whichever variation you choose, whether you have a strap of some kind for a prop around the soles of your feet, or you have your hands resting on the insides of the legs, or your hands can access your feet. Whichever variation of happy baby pose, relax your hips, your back, your buttocks, relax your shoulders down to the ground. So you're not pushing the shoulders down, you're simply relaxing. And they drift downward wherever they end up. Soles of the feet towards the sky. Relax your jaw. 4 slow breaths in this fairly deep hip opener. Relax your eyelids. Now relax the hands resting on the feet or the strap or the legs. And bring the knees over the chest in Apanasana, knees over chest. Relax your shoulders. Relax your face. So we're slowly letting the hips come back into their neutral pose. We don't have to rush into bringing the feet down. Maybe rock from side to side. And then slowly as you're rocking, bring your feet gently down to the ground to land in semi-supine pose once more. Notice the length of the spine if you need to adjust the length. Go ahead and take a moment to do so. Now extend the legs down along the mat, down the mat, blah, blah, blah. Down the mat. Bring the arms to the ground over the head in a position that is comfortable. It could be that the arms still end up out into a Y shape, but we're going to come into a banana pose, so it will depend on if you can clasp the wrist or not. I'll show you in a moment. So leave the hips resting where they are in the center of the mat. And slowly walk the heels over towards the right side off of the mat, as far over as is comfortable. And you'll start to feel a stretch along the outside of that left leg. Gently cross that left ankle over the right. And then we walk the torso over. The hips are the fulcrum. Slowly walk the shoulder blades back of the head, arms over towards the right side off of the mat, a lot or a little, depends. And gently clasp your left wrist. Now, if that kind of a strong shoulder joint opener is simply inaccessible to you, then still keep your arms out into a Y shape, but you can bring the torso over anyway. So you could be clasping the left wrist, or you could be in a Y shape with the arms. Whichever variation you find yourself in, relax your thighs. Relax your hips and your back. Relax your shoulders and your jaw. 4 slow breaths in this little banana pose. And at the end of your 4th exhale, release the wrist, gently uncross the ankles. First, walk the torso back towards the center, and then slowly walk the feet over. Pause for a moment. If you need to do a quick counter pose for your lower back, that's a possibility. You might briefly come into semi-supine pose, lengthening the spine. That's a potential. Maybe you don't feel like you need to, and so you just leave your legs resting extended. Take a moment to notice the subtle differences between the left side of the body and the right. And then slowly walk the legs over towards the left side, as far as is comfortable. I can't go very far. Too many props. Rest your right ankle over your left. Oh dear. And then slowly walk the torso over towards the left side off of the mat. And here again, you could clasp your right wrist, or it could be that it's too strong of a shoulder joint opening, so you simply walk your torso over and keep your arms into a Y shape. So you work with what you got. You don't try to fight what's happening in the body. You listen to it, respect it, and accept what's going on. So you find yourself in your version of a banana pose. Relax your hips, your buttocks, your back. Relax your shoulders. Relax your jaw. slow breaths. And at the end of your fourth exhale, you'll unclasp the wrists, uncross the ankles. First, walk the torso towards the center of the mat. You can bring your arms down by your sides. Walk the legs to the center and bring yourself into semi-supine pose. Lengthen that spine. Relax your jaw. Bring the heels to align with those hip sockets. Heels somewhat close to the sit bones. Let's go through some bridge poses. Stretching, opening up the front of the hips, those hip flexors. Strengthens the thighs, strengthens the pelvic floor, mobilizes the spine. Relax your jaw. Rest your arms wherever you wish. I know some of you like to rest your arms behind your head. You can certainly do that. Some prefer down by your sides. And if you want to, you could also make it dynamic, Dvipadapitam, letting the hips and the arms rise. It's your choice, your bridge pose. So, let's do 4 sets. Remember, these practices are very brief. So, inhaling, pushing into the toes and the heels, lifting the hips up, up, up. Long, extended inhale, all the way up to the tops of the shoulders. And then when you exhale, you slowly release the spine down, one vertebra at a time. Keep your jaw relaxed. And you may find that as the vertebra descend, and you come down to the middle, towards the middle of the spine, you might need to tuck the pelvic a little bit so that the middle spine arrives before the sacrum and the tailbone. At the very end, when you finally landed, relax your hips. You can feel things soften, and then you inhale, lifting the hips back up again. So make this a meticulous practice. Keep your knees flying forward rather than drifting out. Take your time. And again, when the sacrum and the tailbone have landed, relax your hips and your back before you inhale. Just one last set. Inhale slowly, peel the spine up. Relax your jaw. Exhaling into a gentle descent. Down, down, down. The tailbone finally lands. Soften the hips. Pause. Take a deep breath. Brief Apanasana, knees over chest. Quick little tiny counter pose. Could walk side to side. You could do a very gentle squeezing and releasing of the knees towards the chest. Just depends on how your back feels. Remember what I had mentioned at the very beginning. If there's a particular part of the body, your hips, your lower back, your shoulders, that you want to linger a little bit more, because today, for you, you need a little bit of an extra stretch in one particular place. Don't forget to pop that in from time to time. Roll towards your right side. Palm of the left hand down to the ground. Rise up, we'll come into a tabletop pose. There, we made it off the mat. Padding out where you may need to. For me today, I will go ahead and pad out the knees. Fingers spread wide. Remember that the attention to detail is giving yourself a solid foundation to work from. I know I'm going to hit my plants. So what that means is that the shoulders are above the wrists and the knees are beneath the hips. Long spine, shoulders not drifting towards the ears but drifting away from the ears. Let's see how we are with our balance for just a moment. So extend that left leg back, left toes to the ground. Adjust your hips, make sure that they're level. Relax your jaw. And if today you're stressed, you're sleep deprived, if you haven't eaten enough, if you've overeaten, if you've got too much going on in your summer schedule, then be willing to keep the left toes to the ground. If you feel it's appropriate, then you might extend that left leg back. You have to decide. Now you can feel that pressure come into the left wrist. So do you keep both hands to the ground? Or do you extend your right arm forward? You might keep both hands to the ground. You might keep those left toes down. So whichever you decide, extended or grounded, 3 slow breaths. And then first that right arm comes down if it was extended, and then that left knee comes down. Coming into your tabletop pose once more. Extend your right leg back, keep the right toes to the ground. Relax your jaw. Decide if on this side, do you feel up to extending that right leg back? Maybe today you need grounding down. Maybe you need energy. Doesn't matter what you think you should feel. What do you feel? And then again, when the pressure comes into the right wrist, you extend your left arm forward, or do you keep both hands to the ground? 3 slow breaths. Remember that if that angle on those wrists is too uncomfortable, you can bring the hands into fists. Push the knuckles down into the ground so you remove the angle from the wrists. After that third exhale, first that left hand drifts down if it was extended, and then the right knee comes down to the ground, back into your tabletop pose. So let's walk the hands, actually that's not true. Let's come into a hovering puppy pose. So curl the toes under, walk the hands forward by 2 palm lengths, send the sit bones back towards the heels. Don't you feel lucky you get all of the bloopers and hiccups just like you would in regular class? Ears align with the upper arms. Relax your shoulders, relax your eyebrows. So in this pose, we are very specifically stretching the lower back and opening up those shoulder sockets. If you need to bring your knees slightly wider apart, if you've got your tummy pushing up into your ribs and you're finding it hard to breathe, be willing to give yourself some space. We want this to be not just accessible, but comfortable. So a slightly wider stance with the knees, totally normal anything that your body needs. Walk the hands back towards the knees now. Bring the torso up, up, up. We're going to come into a high kneel. And if you find that a high kneel is too uncomfortable for your knees, uncurl your toes. If it's too uncomfortable for your knees, you can do this variation from a seated pose. It'll be the same sort of sequence, but you can simply do it seated. So, let's say you are up on your knees, though, high kneel pose. Just do 4 sets. I don't know what you call it. It's a version of therapeutic yoga, though. So, high kneel pose. Inhaling the arms up into salutation. Exhaling down into a child's pose with the knees slightly wider apart. Hands drift to the sacrum behind you, only briefly. Inhale, rising up into salutation once more. Relax your jaw. Exhaling, arms drift down by your sides. Now let's say going down all the way to the ground is too far for you to go. Bring a cushion really quick. So inhale, arms up, salutation. Exhaling, child's pose with the hands that come back down to the sacrum, and you can bring the ground up to you by bringing a cushion for the forehead to rest upon. Inhaling, salutation, rise up. Exhaling, arms down. Stay in your high kneel. Inhaling, salutation. Exhaling, child's pose. Hands rest on the sacrum just briefly. Inhale, salutation, rising. Exhale, arms drift down. Stay in your high kneel. Let's do one more. Inhale, salutation. Exhale, child's pose. Arms come to the sacrum. Hands come to the sacrum. Inhale, high kneel. And exhale, bring the hands down. Relax your jaw. Rotate the sternum towards your left hip. I haven't done this before. Rotate the sternum towards your right hip. One more rotation. Sternum towards the left hip. And I talk about the sternum because we tend to lead with the shoulders, but we want to be aware of our posture. And turn the sternum towards the right hip. Keep breathing. So we've mobilized the spine a little bit more, bringing the sternum forward to neutral. Now, if you're in a high kneel, whether you've used a cushion or not, make sure you've got a cushion and place it on your calves behind you. If you are on the ground seated, you will bring your arms behind you, interlacing the fingers. So we're all going to come into a little bit of a back bend. But those of us who may be in high kneel using cushions behind us, it might be a little bit of a deeper back bend. So if you're seated, interlace the fingers, arms behind you, and you'll be lifting the sternum skyward. If you're kneeling, rotate the sternum to the left hip. Place that left hand on the cushion behind you. And then rotate the sternum forward. Place the right hand on the cushion also behind you to open up the shoulders. You can feel that chest opening. So everyone, inhale, lift the sternum skyward. Relax your jaw. Exhaling, relax the sternum, the chest. Inhaling, lifting the sternum skyward. Squeeze those shoulder blades. Relax the face. Exhaling to relax. Twice more. Inhale, squeeze those shoulder blades, lift the sternum skyward. Exhale to relax. One more time. Inhale, lift the sternum skyward, squeeze the shoulder blades. Exhale, stay there. Inhale, keep squeezing. Exhale to relax. From a kneeling pose, turn your sternum towards your right hip and lift the torso all the way up. Remove the cushion from behind you. If you are seated, release the fingertips from behind you, and everyone will come into a seated pose. So you could be sitting on a blanket, or if you were working with your cushion, you might be lucky enough to get to sit on top of the cushion. Yay! Nice tall spine. Relax your shoulders, relax your hips. Let your chin drift down towards your chest. And let your chin float skyward. Bring the chin to neutral. Remember to lead with the crown of the head, so the back of the neck is open. Chin is ever so slightly tucked in. Turn your sternum towards your right hip. Take the back of the right hand, place it on the sacrum. Relax your right shoulder. Turn your chin towards your left shoulder. Relax your face. Turn your chin to look over your right shoulder. Look into that twist. Keep breathing normally, but on your next inhale, bring everything forward to neutral. Now let your left ear drift over to hover above your left shoulder. And bring the head up to neutral. Turn your sternum towards your left hip. Take the back of your left hand to rest on the sacrum. Turn your chin to look over your right shoulder. Relax your jaw. And now turn your chin over your left shoulder. Look into the twist. Keep breathing. And on your next inhale, bring everything forward to neutral. Let your right ear drift over and hover just above your right shoulder. Relax your jaw. And bring your head up to neutral. your chin drift down towards your chest once more. Keep breathing. And you might ever so subtly let the spine collapse down as though you're slowly drifting downward with the shoulders, the sternum, the head, and maybe, depending on how high you are with your seat, you could bring your fingertips to the ground in front of you. Or if you're sat directly on the ground, you could bring the palms of your hands flat to the ground. Just a lazy forward fold is what we're looking for. Nice and lazy. Soft eyelids, soft shoulders, soft hips and thighs. Now purposefully lengthen the spine out through the crown of the head, and in that lengthening we'll lift that torso up. Nice long straight spine, lifting the torso up, 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 up. Relax your shoulders, relax your hips. Bring the large pads at the base of your thumbs to the inside corners of the eyebrows. Draw them across the eyebrows. Bit of a miniature face massage. Relax your shoulders. Release the arms down. Take a deep breath. Eyes are shut. Palms of the hands are relaxed. Soles of the feet are relaxed. Begin to become aware of your breath and count the breath down from 10 to 1 sequentially. Starting inhaling 10 and exhaling 10. Working your way down to 1. And at the end of your 10th exhale, bring the palms of the hands to cover your closed eyes. Relax your hips, relax your shoulders and your eyelids. Take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, relax your shoulders. Inhale to open the eyes inside the darkness. And exhale, bringing the hands down into a cup. Offering your stretchy, calm self back into the day. So have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll hope to see you again very soon. Take care. Bye.